Jim O'Brien, 2 years here at Meadow Lane. How does that feel?
It's a sentence, isn't it? It feels good, mate. Obviously settled and stuff, and living at home, and I went through a stage where I was travelling a lot, and had a good few years where I was sort of bouncing about, just with circumstances at home and stuff like that. So it's good to feel settled and enjoying your time again at a club that you feel appreciated at.
We've obviously in the past talked a lot about the journey through the change of ownership and all the difficulties and things like that, so we won't dwell on that too much, but how do you reflect on your 2 years so far?
It's been interesting. I mean, it's 2 years I'll never forget, that's for sure, in terms of coming in, trying to make an impact, and then everything the club went through to then getting that good feeling back about the place, and then pushing, and then Wembley, and then feeling down again after COVID, and it's been certainly interesting, plenty of ups and downs.
Obviously in the news recently, we're in another lockdown. What does that mean for Jim O'Brien?
So it doesn't really change. It just means it's socially acceptable to avoid people now. So I can be a bit up and down myself, like in terms of getting in bad moods and stuff. And
really, we'd never guess that, Jim.
No, I mean it's mainly on the pitch I'm moody, but off the pitch I'm normally a bit in it. But I mean, it's just, there's people, you realise there's people worse off than yourself, especially with the first lockdown when everything we went through, and speaking to people, and guys like yourselves sorted all the phone calls and stuff for people who are vulnerable and stuff like that. So I think you realise that you're not too hard done by, and we can still come to work. So I think in that respect we're very lucky. But again, the game's getting called off and stop-start, and it's really frustrating, because you get into a routine of planning for games, and you want to play football. That's the thing. That's why you train. You train to play. So when games get called off all over the place, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, as you say, your working structure has been thrown up in the air over the last year or so, but you've got another very important job, and that's as a dad, isn't it? And that structure has been completely blown out of the water as well. How are you finding being a dad?
Yeah, I mean, he's been quite good. He's been quite resilient, and to be fair to him, he takes most things in his stride. So I think I'm lucky that way. He's not. He doesn't get frustrated or anything like that. It's difficult though. We were just talking about that there. Me and Ben Turner were talking about it there, about how to keep your kids engaged, and how much of a graft it is, and how much respect we've got for teachers now after the first lockdown. So that's challenging, but in terms of my son, he's been great.
Ben Turner, that's an interesting name you've just popped up there. It's been a challenging couple of months for him. How much are the boys rallying around him at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around the block, and he's had challenging times before, and we don't treat him any different in terms of how we talk to him or approach him or anything like that. He's a great fella, and we know what he brings to the team, and we know what he can produce, and he trains like an absolute warrior. So in that respect, I'm not qualms about Ben coming back and hitting the form that he did before, obviously, his red card. But football's like that sometimes, and you've just got to dig in, and that shows the mentality of the person as well. And I think somebody like Ben, like, you look around the dressing room, and everybody that sees Ben's not got a problem with him, because they know he'll come back stronger, and he'll keep doing the right things.
You mentioned there Ben Turner having to dig in. Another player who you work closely alongside, Matty Wolf, he's had to really dig in, hasn't he, in his loan spell so far? Had COVID, struggled with a little bit of fitness, has had to really wait for his chance. But we have extended his loan move from your former club, Barnsley. Just tell us a little bit about what you've seen from him, because the gaffer's very complimentary of the way he's learning from people like you and Doyler and Jake in the middle.
Well, Barnsley's my team, innit, so I want to make him a better player. No, I speak to him a lot. Like, you don't really get a lot out of him, because he's a quiet lad. He listens and he wants to learn, but when you ask him questions and stuff, he's a bit empty in the head. So it's it's tough trying to switch him on a little bit sometimes. But no, technically very good, athletic, strong. And he's going to be a good player. He just needs to learn little things like where to be when we don't have the ball, and he's just learn his position basically. But yeah, he's one that I think will go on and have a good career, because, like I say, the most important thing, he does want to learn, and he has got all the attributes. So I'm glad he's staying, and he can. It's not just about having him as a squad player. He can really push me and Doyle and Reeves as well. So yeah, and I think, to be fair, there's not a feeling of, well, he's here to take my place, or he's to take Doyle's place, or Reeves's. He's here to be a part of the squad, and the older lads have been helping him as much as they can. I think like I say, I think he'll go on and have a good career.
Obviously, you're a former Bradford player as well, Jake Reeves, coming in from Bradford. What have you made of the start of his Notts career?
On a many club, we're going to go through every club. Yeah.
Doyle has been at Coventry as well.
Could be a while. Reeves. I never. The funny thing about Reeves is, I was there for about 6 months, and I was really tight with Reeves, but we never actually got to play together because of his injury. And then I left to come here, and he got back fit. So got on really well with him, and I think the impact he's made in a short space of time has been excellent. Sort of limited my time in the middle and made me play more out wide. But when you've got guys of that ability and fitness levels and drive, and bringing that difference to the squad, then it's only healthy, So yeah, I got on with him on and off the park really. He's a clever player, intelligent, and I think that's what you want when you're a new player at a club, or when you see a new player coming in. There's got to be an impact, and I think Reeves' probably done that the most in terms of from the summer.
How are you finding it out wide?
I don't mind it. I've played there most of my career, so it's not a bother to me. Sometimes it's stop-start because we've got a talented squad, and sometimes you're not playing and you don't realise why. But then when you obviously see the lads who are coming in to play, you just got to realise that that's the way it is, and you've got a good squad. And sometimes it's frustrating, but I mean, I like to think that I've got it in me to turn that frustration into energy, and to turn up for training and train properly and push the other lads.
With the way the season's obviously going, with all these postponements, obviously squad rotation is going to be a thing, but you'd have thought when it comes to the real thick of it all, it won't just be squad rotation, but it'll be probably positional rotation for a number of players, so you potentially could find yourself in different roles within the team as well, I guess.
Yeah, well, it gets that way. I mean, we saw before the first lockdown, we saw how it worked with the Saturday-Tuesday games, and with me coming in, Doyle coming out, Doyle going in with Tom Crawford and Rosie, and you different players just coming in and out, and that's the way the gaffer worked it, and it was going really well, and everybody knew their job, and everybody knew that they had to perform to take their chance. I think as a squad we're trying to get back to that, but it's difficult when you've got games getting called off. So for me, frustrating, I never played the last game, then have a good 10 days training or so, looking forward to the game on Saturday, and then it could be off again, and it's trying to get back in the team, and little things like that are frustrating, but I mean, that's just the way the world is at the minute, and we just got on with it. We try and show up with a smile on our faces and just got on with it as best we can.
As we've been talking about a few individuals within the squad, I wanted to get your take on two of our foreign imports, Ruben Rodriguez and Elijah Sam. Now, obviously for a National League club, it's quite interesting to be bringing in players from abroad, and obviously when you combine that with the owners' backup of the data and the research that they do, it's an interesting development really. What have you made of how they've both adapted to life in the National League?
I think they've been great. I mean, it's tough. It's tough for them coming in. Obviously, like you say, you're coming from abroad, you come to a different country, you don't know anyone. You're not just trying to get to know your teammates, you're trying to get to know the club, the city, everything that goes with that, where to go, where to live, little things. So I think it took them a wee while. They hadn't played for a while either, and we were sort of ahead of them fitness wise as well. So I think when you put all those things together, it's really difficult. But we're starting to see now the fruits of that, and I think it's helped that. I think it's helped that Enzo's here as well, because obviously Ruben speaks Dutch and stuff like that. So I think Enzo's helped the lads settle in. But I think everyone as a whole's made the lads feel welcome, and I think we're seeing that. Elijah's bagged a couple of goals. You can see Ruben's talent on the ball, and it's just about him learning the game, because he's still a young guy. So that's where people like Marcel and Doyler and Reeves and that come in, or maybe playing behind him if he's playing in the 10. So it's just about him listening and wanting to learn.
And in terms of Elijah, you can kind of see a noticeable difference in terms of his aggression and his confidence, can't you, from maybe the first few appearances that he made, and now he's gained a bit more knowledge of the league and maybe a bit more self-belief after that goal. You're starting to see him for the beast of a man that he is.
Definitely. I mean, I thought he was a basketball player when he first came in, and he's a big lad, lovely big fella. But yeah, that aggression, I think maybe the National League took him a little bit by surprise in terms of the physicality of stuff of it. But I think he's got that in him, and I'm one of those who are always chipping away at him and trying to get him angry, in terms of getting more aggressive. So I still think there's more to come from both of the lads, but in terms of Elijah, I think that aggression is definitely in there, and it's just about lads running about him, bringing it out in him, because he's a nice lad off the pitch. So I think if we can get him to work out that switch, how to switch into the animal mode, then I think we'll be all right.
Give us a flavour of a couple of your favourite moments, or perhaps your one favourite moment that sticks out from your 2 years at Meadow Lane so far.
I would say my goals, because I don't score that many. So
Forest Green away with
Forest
the knee
Green,
slide.
and then I made a backside of the celebration, didn't I? It was like a car crash, so I think that took a couple of years off my career. Was that my first one?
Mm.
And then I don't think I've scored many.
What about your assist for Deno's goal in the playoffs? It was a brilliant piece of wing play.
I did that every day in training. You sound surprised, you know what I mean? That was good. It was a goal at an important time, and when I look back at the game, I've watched the game back and stuff, and we were actually playing quite well, but I didn't feel personally I was playing well or in the game that much. So to produce something like that for us at an important time in the game was really nice, and on the left foot as well, it's no bad, do you know what I mean, on the weak side. So I mean, good moments. And to be honest with you, the biggest thing for me was coming to the club and being made feel so welcome. When you know the history of a club like this, and you come in and you hit the ground running, you do all right. You make, like I said earlier, about making an impact. You feel as if you've made an impact and you're starting to make a difference within the squad. And then obviously you see how the fans reacting and stuff like that. I think that goes a long way in making you happy at a club. And I know it's been tough, and I've had some tough times especially over my 2 years, but I've really enjoyed it as a whole. You know, coming to work every day, it's a great place to work, it's a great environment, and I can't speak highly enough of the club, really.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the fans have got a great relationship with you, and vice versa. You know, just to close this interview off, you know, what would you say to those supporters who will be sort of clinging on your every word here in terms of how you see the future for this club beyond when you're here, probably when I'm here? You know, how do you see the future under these owners and with the the structure that's being put in place?
Well, it's definitely going the right way. It's obviously difficult times and digging in, and it's difficult for them because they can't get to the games and watch and support. But we know that they're there, and obviously speaking to guys like yourselves about the streams and stuff like that, I think the club are doing so much to engage and bridge that gap between the supporters and the players, and we know how important they are, and we miss them, and they drive us on some games, you know, and when things aren't maybe going so well, and you can feel the cop and the noise, and we know how well supported the club is, and the structure that's in place now, it feels really secure and safe, and I think the owners have done really well in terms of stepping up with the whole COVID thing as well, and putting their hand in their pocket and doing everything right and protocols in place, and it just feels from like the top down that it's in secure hands. And just from everything from before they came in as well, like for me, like I felt that having those tough meetings and stuff like that, it made the players and the staff like yourselves and the chefs, the cleaners, all the office staff, that bridged the gap between the players and the fans as well, because we became tighter and it just felt like everybody was pulling in the same direction because we were all going through the same thing. So it feels there's a good feeling about the club as a whole, and it's just about getting that run and getting that feeling onto the pitch again like we had last season pre-lockdown.